All right, let's bring in political analyst Levy Ndou as we take a closer look at the scores of hung municipalities across South Africa. A very good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. Last time we spoke, we were talking at the Results Operations Centre, and it became clear as the results came in that coalitions were going to increase, many more South Africans living under coalitions. Let's look at some of the possibilities today, Levy. Some talk of a possible union between the DA and the ANC, which would basically exclude all the small parties. This would be the two big parties coming together, maybe only at a local level around services. Is it viable at all for you?
Good afternoon, Francis. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. Indeed, this is the discussion we started days ago during the elections and whilst they were busy counting the elections. One is not surprised by the election results because the signs were always there relating to the trends and the voter patterns in South Africa, coupled with voter apathy. But I think what we have now is that these coalitions, as imposed to us, provides an opportunity for all political parties in South Africa to change their mindset in terms of how they do things and how they approach governance in South Africa. Political parties in South Africa today are obliged to find ways and means to work together and to ensure that at the end of the day, the rainbow nation that we were talking about post-94, the United South Africa is being realized, and it must be seen from different political parties having to start working together. Of course, there are other political parties that have made their intentions clear, that they are not going to work with other political parties like the ANC. But I see instances where these parties are now forced by circumstances to come to some form of an agreement. And if our political parties have to instruct their leaders to be matured enough and focus on the interest of the people, maybe we can then be able to find a situation where political parties are able to come together, share expertise, share knowledge, which might be in the interest of the people. And I think what is central is for political parties to put their differences aside, forget about campaigning, and focus on a citizen of South Africa who is supposed to be the beneficiary of the democracy.
We all want that, Mr. Ndou. So you're saying that maybe some of the parties will have to bend. It must be a huge risk. Action SA, for example, doing well in Johannesburg, the former mayor, Herman Mashaba, but he has said they will not work with the ANC categorically. So surely he has to stick with that, otherwise he could lose extensive face. The DA saying it won't work for the EFF, for example. Are you saying these things may change as we go along?
There is a possibility of such to change. Remember, Francis, when political parties campaign, the focus is for them to become government, but also at the same time, some political parties would identify certain political parties as their major opponents. But I think what then becomes central is that there is a view which is being expressed by a number of political parties in South Africa that the intention is to isolate the ANC and ensure that the ANC does not do better. At the same time, you need political parties who are able to make an expression of people first. And that will then mean that even though you have taken a decision not to cooperate or to work with political party A or political party B, what should be seen to be central, or what should people hear from you as a political party, is something that has to put people first. And indeed, if it is possible for these political parties to come to an agreement or find a common ground, then there is a huge possibility for these political parties to be able to come together and work together in the interest of the people. Yeah. Whoever thought that the EFF would at some point support the Democratic Alliance in running the municipality like that of Tshwane, it has actually happened. And even now, because negotiations are open, there is a possibility that we might still get other political parties relaxing their stance and having to work with others so that municipalities can also come into being. But another issue as well, Francis, is that you don't need to have political parties who might be seen not to be patriotic based on the stance that they take, because that would have a potential among citizens to say, political party A does not work in the interest of the people. We're not having stability in the municipality A because different political parties don't want to work together. I think that is what should come in the minds of politicians.
I'm interested in what you said about the DA and EFF working together, because they have in the past. People were surprised. But in the end, wasn't it generally a disaster? If the smaller parties want to unite against the ANC, do you think that there really could be a workable agreement this time between the DA and the EFF? And then, of course, in Joburg and some areas, you'd need Action SA as well, that has called the DA a bunch of racists. Do you see this working?
Well, Francis, the challenge, and I think this is what is going to confront most political parties. The challenge is that of identifying only the ANC as an enemy, assuming that when parties come together, they will be able to work together in a coalition. And that has proven not to be the case. And I think based on the experiences of the city of Tshwane and other metros and municipalities, political parties should have learned how to do things better. And I think what we need to see now in the next few days before councils are constituted is to see political parties bargaining and developing better strategies that will make them to come together with other political parties, but making them work. Yeah. I don't think there is any political party who would be proud or would want to participate in a coalition like what we had in the city of Tshwane. So it will require new strategies, it will require a new mindset, but at the heart of everything that they do, service delivery and the interests of the citizens should be at the center of those discussions.
All right, thank you very much, political analyst Levy Ndou. And let's see what happens. Many calling for better agreements, something that even the public can look at and hold those parties to account and make those coalitions more workable.